How you doing, everybody? My name's Kevin and I live in a van with my two dogs, and we travel this country taking footage along the way of all of our travels, and we bring them to you here on YouTube. So today we are at the Virginia War Museum. I believe it's Newport News, Virginia. There's a lot of history here in Virginia, and the museum here behind me is closed and it's open Thursday. Today is Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, today's Wednesday. So maybe I'll come back tomorrow and try to get inside and take footage. But as of right now, let me walk you around the yards here and show you some history war equipment. Now this stuff is what I'm really interested. For some reason, World War II artillery and army equipment really fascinates me, and the story of World War II, from the Japanese to the Germans, and how we did and how we handled that war and the true heroes that were there, fascinates me to all get out. So this stuff here really fascinates me. Let's take a look. All right, guys, I just left the Historic War Museum in Newport News, and now I'm in Yorktown, Virginia, and I'm standing in the battlefield of Yorktown. I'm gonna flip the camera around here and show you guys, but this is where the Battle of Yorktown happened. This whole field was covered with soldiers. From here, one side was fighting, and there the other side was fighting, and they met in the middle and had the epic Battle of Yorktown. You can see how big this battlefield is. Let me zoom in for you. So with the Battle of Yorktown area behind me, I'm gonna go ahead and read you guys the history of where I'm standing at right now. It says, the Siege of Yorktown, also known as the Battle of Yorktown, the surrender at Yorktown or German battle ending October 19th, 1781 at Yorktown, Virginia, was a decisive victory by a combined force of the American Continental Army troops led by General George Washington and Gilbert de Motier, Marquis de Lafayette, and French Army troops led by Comte de Rochambeau over a British army commanded by British peer and Lieutenant General Charles Cornwallis. The culmination of the Yorktown campaign, the siege, proved to be the last major land battle of the American Revolutionary War in North American region, as the surrender by Cornwallis and the capture of both him and his army prompted British government to negotiate an end to the conflict. So that was here. This location here was a pivotal point that ended the conflict of the Revolutionary War, which was commanded by our first president, George Washington. We won this battle. This is what ended the American Revolutionary War, was right here. The Revolutionary War ended right here. George Washington won this battle, which led to the end of the Revolutionary War. This is where it all started, to the end of the Revolutionary War. Victory Monument resolved that Congress will cause to be erected at York in Virginia a marble column adorned with emblems of the alliance between the United States and His Most Christian Majesty, and inscribed with a significant narrative of the surrender of Earl Cornwallis to His Excellency George Washington, General George Washington, to His Excellency the Count de Rochambeau, and His Excellency the Count de Grasse. Journals of Congress, October 29th, 1781, was signed right here. And here's the monument. This thing is massive. That's got to be 150 feet tall. And the inscription here on the front reads, "At York on October 19, 1781, after a siege of 19 days by 5,500 American and 7,000 French troops of the line 3,500 Virginia militia under command of General Thomas Nelson and 36 French ships of war, Earl Cornwallis, commander of the British forces at York, Gloucester, surrendered his army, 7,251 officers and men, 840 seamen, and 244 cannon and 24 standards, to His Excellency George Washington, Commander-in-Chief of the Combined Forces of America and France, to His Excellency the Count de Rochambeau, commanding the auxiliary troops of His Most Christian Majesty in America, and to His Excellency the Count de Grasse, commanding in chief the Naval Army of France in Chesapeake." So a pretty cool monument right here, and where we're at now is Main Street in Yorktown, Virginia. I'm gonna head back to the van, get the dogs and myself, and we're gonna drive up Main Street and show you some of the colonial houses here. Okay, here we are on this closed road. It's Main Street in Yorktown, Virginia, with a ton of colonial and historical buildings. Let's take a look. Dudley Diggs House, circa 1760. So this is Nelson House, circa 1730. He was a general that lived in this house. Okay, walking through the Nelson House, this general that was a general of the war, I just had somebody tell me that there's actually a cannonball stuck in the side of his house, so let's go try to find it. And there it is. Let's go take a look. How about that right there for history? Unbelievable. You can't get a better rendition of history and what happened here when the war was going on. The general actually had a cannonball hit his house and stick into the wall. How cool is that? Let's go further down Main Street. This is the Summerwell House. Says Museum on Main. This is a medical shop. I wonder if it's, oh, it's closed. There's a big sign that says closed. This was a medical building back in the Revolutionary War era. This is Swan Tavern here. So the local watering hole where you could get your whiskey. So this building here is Captain John Smith Adventures on the Pamunkey Flue. Okay, so that I walked all the way down the Main Street here in Yorktown, Virginia, and it seems to be that I've seen as much as I can see here when it comes to historical monuments and old buildings and things like that. So we're gonna head back to the dogs and we're gonna take off and probably call it a day. Thanks guys for coming with me on this Wednesday. In a few seconds, you're gonna see Thursday. So we'll see you on Thursday. All right guys, it's Thursday. And where I'm at now is I'm still in Virginia Beach, but I drove to one of the oldest houses that's still standing here in America, and it's called the Lynnhaven House. Take a look. right, so let me give you a little information on the Lynnhaven House. So it says here that the Lynnhaven House, also Wishart House and Bausch House, which was built circa 1725, is an example of an 18th century Tidewater, Virginia vernacular architecture and is located in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Although it was founded by the Thellaball family, it is sometimes referred to as the Bausch House or the Wishart House. The house was given the name Lynnhaven House due to its close proximity to the Lynnhaven River, which flows on the same property. Originally, the home located at 4405 Wishart Road stood on a 250-acre plantation. Now it is located on 5.5 acres. So a little bit reading more, it says that this house reflects the economic status of Francis Tharibal. He was a plantation owner. He lived here from 1725 to 1727. While relatively little is known about Francis and his wife Abigail, much more is known about Francis's cousin Joyce Langley Tharibal, who was born in 1694. Agricultural and design details include brick jack acres, a close spindle staircase with teardrop pendant, and a ship's lap floor construction reveal a builder concerned with quality as well as artistry. So very cool. So this house wasn't originated here, but it was brought here to keep it in good standing order. So yeah, try to think about what it was like back in the day where you always had to get your water every single day from a well outside. There was no pipes, there was no running water. It was a lot harder back then to get water. Not as easy as it is today to get water. You never would think about stuff like that. I want to see something else over here. Take a look. I'm not sure what this is. Looks like burial or gravestones or something. There is some writing on this stuff. Sacred to the memory of Mary Bausch, who was born on the ... wife of William Bausch. She was of a broken ... When the last summons came with serenity, she took leave of her relatives and domestics, and with unfeigned faith fell asleep in the Lord Jesus. 1764 to 1822. So I think that, let's think about this. There could very well be bodies in here. How cool is that? So I'm really thinking that the people who lived in this house are buried here. There is an inscription on top of this gravestone. I'm going to see if I can try to read it. Sacred to the memory of Elizabeth Walk, widow of David Walk, and daughter of W.M. Mary Bausen, who departed this life on the 9th day of June 1881 in the 83rd or 82nd year of her life. Holy cow, what an amazing potential graveyard history. You guys know that that's my favorite stuff to do. What a off the wall in the back of the woods. Never thought I would find something as cool as this. All right guys, how cool was this visit? Very off the wall, very hidden, but very, very cool find. I was glad to bring you along with me so you guys could see stuff like this. Today's Thursday. I didn't do much today when it comes to bringing you guys footage because I went to Harbor Freight. I was looking for a charger for my battery when it comes to the house battery. I took the dogs to a dog park and they ran around for a couple hours, and then I took a nap. So Thursday wasn't a big filming day, but it ended very, very well. So you're going to see us again on Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, well, it's Friday, and the only thing that I've done today so far is take the dogs to a dog park and do laundry. And it took me a good half of the day to do both. So we're here charging some batteries with solar. The dogs are in the van with the roof vent open, and they're living the good life because I am here in Virginia. Nomadic Sporadic is broken down, so we're going to work on his van. He's having a little trouble where he's losing power and it sounds like there's a vacuum leak. He took me for a drive and I'm like, maybe it's a loose spark plug. So we're going to see if it's a loose spark plug. He's going to pull them out and see if one's loose. Sounds like it's coming from that area, and there's two spark plugs there. So here's the guy that's broken down. You know him as Nomadic Sporadic, who's laughing at me because I'm recording this. But hey, this is my weekly travels, helping this guy out who's only shown me his back and his butt. which you can look at, which you can look at his butt, but you just can't look at mine. So we're gonna tighten down his spark plugs and see if that's it, and we'll check back with you in a second. All right, update time. It's not a spark plug. We tightened 50% of them, but after that, I did do some investigations of noise to try to centralize it. It sounds like it's an air leak coming from his throttle body, and he's only got probably 25% power. I'm not a mechanic. I don't really know everything, but he's going to have a mechanic take a look at it on Monday who works here with him, and maybe he can diagnose it. Changes my plans a little bit. I was going to do a live stream with this guy. I was really excited about it on Saturday from some epic ground here in Virginia. But the best part about being a nomad is when changes come my way, I can make changes really quick. So with my roof rack system showing up in Nashville, Tennessee, the dogs and myself will be heading there. And then, sorry Maddie, but I gotta head out west right after that.
To slow down. Fireplace, do you know how? Pass the paper, my desk is out.